gentlemen, to the JD and Ferg Show. I'm your host, JD, and this is your co-host, The Ferg. And what we're here to do today is to first introduce ourselves a little bit, give you a brief summary of what we are going to be doing on this television show.
We are going to be talking about football in general. Football, we're even going to delve into the fantasy football. This first show, we're going to start off with, we're going to be talking about some of the games that NFL posted as their top 12 games for 2012 season. And we're going to roll on that.
All right, the first matchup, the 12th matchup that they had listed on NFL Network was the Steelers versus the Broncos. And the only thing that I could see to point out with this is the age versus age factor. See who still has enough youth to win that game left. What do you think?
That's about it, man. It's age versus age. Peyton Manning he's 1-1 regular season against the Steelers. He's 1-1 in the playoffs against the Steelers. Yeah, whatever, dude. It's 2-2. You know, it's age versus age.
Now, do you think that anybody would bring up Tebow's name if Peyton Manning happens to not beat the Steelers, even though Tebow managed to do it just recently in the playoffs?
I'm going to start off by saying I deeply apologize to everybody out there that we've already mentioned that name. But no, nobody will bring it up.
All right, the 11th matchup listed is the Bills versus the Texans. And the main thing to point out with this is the fact that can one off-season acquisition, free agent acquisition, make that big of an impact on a team? So the comparisons would basically be how the Texans defense fares now versus the Bills.
Yeah, yes. Cushing's great when he's got somebody, a beast out there like Super Mario rushing the quarterback. He can do his thing. Man, you drop Super Mario out of that. You know, I like the Texans. I don't think they have anybody to rush the passer anymore. They've lost that aspect of their game. Their defense is a good defense, good solid defense. But without somebody to sit there and keep that quarterback on its heels, something has been lost. And Bills, great pickup. Doesn't matter how much you pay it, great pickup. And Bills defense, we were talking about this off camera. Bills defense has always been opportunistic simply because they don't have somebody to rush that passer. Now they've always had to pick off that guy and try to get as many yards back. Now they got somebody to rush that passer. That's fantasy world. Keep your eye on that defense.
Now, and one more thing that I want to mention before we go on is the fact that they also lost Eric Winston and DeMeco Ryans. So we'll see how that affects their defense going on throughout the season as well.
That's a painful one.
Yeah. The next matchup is the Raiders versus the Bengals. Could this spell sweet revenge for Carson Palmer? Or could this be something that the Bengals could use to say, you know what, we didn't need you. That's why we did let you go.
Right. Bengals, you should have made that man happy. I'm just saying, should have made that man happy. Yeah, he had a couple bad years. I got that. Or bad year and a half or so, injuries, illnesses, got that. When that man is healthy, look at last year. He performed. Steelers without a quarterback, Raiders without a quarterback. Raiders without a quarterback were literally nothing. Put a quarterback like Carson Palmer, damn good quarterback, look what happens. Inches away from friggin' a playoff berth.
All right, the next matchup is the Texans versus the Patriots. And, aside from the defensive, if the defense of the Texans is hurt because of the losses that they've had, then it would basically be an explosive offense versus an explosive offense. Now, the question is, how big of an impact will a healthy Schwab and Andre Johnson make going into this matchup?
I can honestly say it'll make an impact, without a doubt. But I will also say, bring out your 6-shooters, boys. This is going to be a shootout. Because there ain't no defense on either side. Draft is already hit off. Neither team has really done anything for the good on their defensive side. they haven't improved much of anything. And Texans, damn good defense, but guess what you just lost? 3 starters. Big starters. You know, Texans, you're going to be sitting right there with the Patriots if you don't do something by the end of this offseason plan. Otherwise, I don't know what. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I don't know why this one made the list, though. I must honestly say, other than the shootout effect.
All right, the next matchup: Panthers versus Redskins. Now, if the RG3 effect happens to have a similar rookie year to what Cam Newton had last year, and Cam Newton gets to build upon what he did, this could be a very electric, a very exciting game to watch coming into this next year.
Like my boy Dion says, Teal, that was Teal. Sorry, you have to excuse me. I do this from time to time. Getting old. Like my boy Teal says, grab your popcorn, boys. This is gonna be a show. I hope the Redskins do get RG3. Be the greatest pickup they've had in maybe a couple decades. But whoa, I'm definitely I'm DirecTV in that thing. I got to push and record on that bad boy.
And just one more thought that I wanted to point out also is, if RG3 does have a season like we've seen before with the Michael Vicks, with the Randall Cunninghams, with Cam Newton last year, does that start to set a new trend in the football world? Do teams start go out and look for those quarterbacks that can be explosive with the run, be dynamic, and also still be able to complete the passes that they need to give their offense a bunch of different looks for defenses?
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. I like where you're going with that. Great friggin' question. I'm going to have to still say no. Offense, the air ball, rules the world in today's football. Hence the reason why these guys are doing so well. Most defenses are literally starting to get those 2 guys on the end rushing the quarterback, and everything else is just defense from the linebacker's back. Yeah, so when you got guys like RG3 and Cam Newton out there, they're gonna have big performances, because that's not the way defenses are being set up nowadays, and it's not going to trend towards that, only because the airway still rules the world in NFL.
All right. And for this next matchup, now you already had a matchup where you were like, why is this on the list? This, in my opinion, is my why is it on the list. You've got the Cowboys versus the Saints. Now, I could understand the slight intrigue that it would have if Parcells did take the Saints interim coach job.
Yeah.
He did just come out recently and said that he will not be taking it.
Cut that.
So, what is there to be excited for this to be a matchup that you must watch?
I think you just said it. The game's already been cut from the list, I bet. I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, I know the Saints have a lot of off-field issues going on right now. They're still dealing. They haven't came down with the personnel cuts. Yeah, I think Saints are going to be brought back down to earth for a season, maybe 2. But other than that, yeah, I'm with you. Why to make the list? Well, now that Parcells not going to be the coach, yeah, I'm sure it's cut from the list.
The next one from the list. And now, the one that they actually had number 1 on their list, I felt was the matchup until a recent audio recording came out of Greg Williams. That's right, number 6 on the list is the Saints versus the 49ers, a playoff rematch. And just recently, an audio recording was released of Greg Williams, which I'm sure everybody's already heard by now. They've played it on every sports network.
Yeah.
I think that this would be the number 1 game to watch if I was one of the 49er players its name was called out and heard this.
Yeah, I'm with him. This is a big-time game. I mean, Saints, you just went in, playoff game. Saints, you just went into the 49ers stadium. Man, hell of a battle both sides. Amazing freaking game. Amazing freaking game. Probably one of the best games I've seen all year. I mean, just electrifying from top to bottom. Defenses, the defense for the 49ers, Jesus. I was impressed. Saints were hearing footsteps like they ain't never heard footsteps before, and they were the ones supposed to be putting on the big hits. Imagine what this game's going to be looking like. The Saints bench is going to be hearing footsteps. Just saying, I know the 49ers ain't like that as a team in general, but there's some
There's a pride factor.
there's some deep-seated feelings for a few personnel on that team, I can honestly say. I would have to say. But yeah, interesting game. God, bring out your popcorn again, boys.
This next matchup is always an interesting matchup. It's the Packers versus the Bears. They play each other twice a year, but it's always a beautiful game to watch. Marshall and Cutler united again, and it feels so good.
It feels so
Well, we'll see how that turns out, but what do you feel about it?
Man, Marshall, great move. Cutler, you got to be like a schoolgirl. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. But yeah, Packers, still a hell of a team, dude. Still a monster of a team. They're still going to be a top 3 contender, without a doubt. But Bears, the way they're looking, God, Bears, sign Forte. Pay that man.
Get him a deal.
Pay that man. My God. Don't pull a Chris Johnson. Don't pull a Chris Johnson in Titans. Pay that man.
Let him have a good year. Next matchup on the list, it's another playoff rematch from last year. It's the Patriots versus the Ravens.
I like it.
I like it.
I like it. It's a tasty one. And I definitely think Harbaugh is going to do a lot of things differently. Harbaugh sat on, for lack of a better way of putting it, sat on his hands for most of that game. Didn't get the offense going. Didn't get a lot of people doing what they wanted to do. They didn't play Ravens ball. Didn't play Ravens ball.
And now there's no Lee Evans on the team yet right now. So hopefully we won't have another end zone drop like that, because that was a major deflation on that drive that they had. And then for Billy Cundiff to miss a 31-yarder also in that drive. I mean, we were so close to having a Harbaugh Super Bowl last season.
WTF, Harbaugh. You dropped the ball almost as bad as that damn kicker did.
And now, while we don't know the schedule for the rest of the games and when they will be played, we do know that the first game that will be played this season is a conference rivalry, Giants versus Cowboys. Good way to open the season? Rivalry games?
I love that you're starting off the rivalry game. In my opinion, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this because I know there's a lot of boys fans and a lot of Ants fans. I think we could start off with a better conference game than this one. I know the Super Bowl winner has to play the first game of the season. I got that. This game, I'm sorry, Big Will. We'll see it another time.
I think Saints and Niners should have been the first game to start that. That would have been...
Yeah, I'm not a 49ers fan, but I'm sorry, but that was a blast to watch. I don't care if you're a Saints fan, 49ers fan, or not even a fan of either team. If you're just a fan of NFL, that game just puts you on the edge of your seat every waking play, dude. It was a beautiful game. And this Cowboys-Giants game, I'm sorry, I'm going to put it on the big whoop list.
The second to the final matchup that we will mention today is the Broncos versus the Patriots. It's Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning yet again. If Manning's healthy, again, we don't know when this will. I know we've heard plenty of reports already that Manning's throwing great, accurate, strong, and having good long practices with Eric Decker and some of the other receivers there.
Thomas,
But do you think this will have that same fire that the old matchups had?
Yes, I'm a Peyton Manning fan. Yes, this game just has to have the fire. Those two guys are so competitive, and those two literally, they bring out the best of each other. I mean, if you go back and watch some of their games against each other, they have to be some of the best games of each guy's career, and just the most suspenseful games. I mean, the whole game doesn't matter until you get to the last 2 minutes. Whoever's holding the ball in the last 2 minutes literally has came out with, 80% of the wins in those two games? That's why those games are, literally suspenseful and some of the best games. Because those two...
excellence versus excellence.
Yeah, superior against superior. I agree completely. And I think even though Peyton's now on the Broncos... Sorry, I had to pause for that one. 49ers. Hayden, really? 49ers? Anyways, yeah, maybe a different suit up, maybe a different, different look. Same play. Same suspense, same beautiful artwork by both sides of it. I mean, it's literally some of the greatest art that I've ever seen.
All right, and down to the final matchup, and again, this was the one that I felt, all right, you guys called it great. That should have been the #1 matchup until the Greg Williams tape release, and that is the 49ers versus the Giants. Obviously, for all the great reasons, and now it's a chance to see if do the 49ers still make the same mistakes.
Right.
You got Mario Manningham and Brandon Jacobs, who are both Niners now, so they're on the other end of the ball. So what are your thoughts on this game?
This one plays interesting. Very, very interesting. Reason I say that, Eli, welcome to coming into your own. Welcome to the Peytonhood that you probably should have been for a couple years now. I'm not putting you down, man. Not putting you down.
You're an elite quarterback.
You are an elite quarterback, man. Welcome to the crew. Welcome to the Manningness. I don't know what else to call it. The Manningness. It runs in your family, dude. It takes others a little longer than others. Let's get to the point. Giants and 49ers. Me personally, I'd rather kick out the popcorn on the Saints and 49ers before the Greg Williams thing came out. But this is still going to be a damn good game. I would rank it in the top 2, definitely, for this upcoming year. And Eli, it's got to look weird looking on the other side watching somebody else pass to one of your men. I mean, this man just helped you win a Super Bowl, and now you're like, wait a minute.
What are they doing with that jersey on?
It's got to be a little weird. But I will say this. I think the 49ers have still not gotten it. And the reason being is just because of quarterback alone. Yes, you got him weapons. The man's still got to be at, the quarterback himself has to be capable of making those throws. And I'm sorry. Alex Smith, 7 years, man. 7 years. I'm done biting. I'm throwing it in the garbage.
Well, he did improve from last year, so we'll have a look at it and see what he does this next season. You never know.
I guarantee you he ain't only turning that ball over 7 times.
That's for us to have to wait and see at this point. But that's all the time that we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for tuning in and watching us and listening to our thoughts on some of the games that NFL Network said was probably the top 12 games to watch. Looking at this next season coming up. Next week we will go into the free agency with all of you and see what teams did what to impact their squads.
Yeah, I like it. It's going to be fun. And just before we head out, don't forget to like this, dislike it, whatever. We don't care. We want to know how you guys feel about what we can do to make this better, what we can talk about. Post comments like a mug. We are down. Let's do this. This is a new thing for us. This is going to be a weekly thing. We're going to start off with once a week. If we can, we're going to try to get it 2-3 times a week. And it all depends on what you guys say. What you guys want to hear is what we want to do. And trust me, we're going to go full on NFL. We're going to go full on fantasy. We're here for you. We're going to have a great time this year.
And we love haters too.
We love
it. Just pushes us. So
love haters.
Give us feedback and you will hear from us again next week.
Don't